With that boss out of the way, it's time to relax in our last moments of normalcy before, well, something happens. We still have 5 days until the full moon, and those 5 days are going to be spent busily social linking. It's now Tuesday, and today's still a holiday. Hey, it's Children's Day! Yeah, like many people who grew up with Pokemon, I was introduced to Children's Day through the Pokemon anime, where, for some reason, 4Kids called it Kids' Day, but, yeah. And through, Where in Time Has Carmen Sandiego, I learned that Children's Day was originally Boys' Day before they changed it to be more inclusive. But it's probably one of the most well-known Japanese holidays. And it's one of the few Japanese holidays that, 4Kids didn't completely censor. They didn't exactly censor Hina Matsuri either, but, they just called it Princess Festival or something. I guess Doll Festival would have been more accurate, but still. At least 4Kids didn't completely slaughter all Japanese references in the dubbed anime. Yeah, not a good idea to wake up a boxer. I might have already said that, but anyway. Has she said this before? Yeah, request help. I think she said that before. Anyway, it's a holiday, but we're actually not going to be playing the MMO, surprisingly. And yeah, today is Children's Day. .8% of the population is aged 15 years or younger. Oh, the first time it's been under 10%. Yeah, the aging population is a major problem in Japan. It's something that a lot of people who haven't looked into it in detail don't really realize, but personally I believe the reason for the increasing amounts of fan service and dating sim elements in video games and anime in Japan is an attempt to try and solve the aging population problem. They're really desperate to encourage young people to want to have kids, because a lot of Japanese young people have basically said that guy looked cardboard for a second there. Seriously, doesn't he look 2D from this angle? A lot of Japanese young people have expressed no interest in having children, which has become quite worrying. Now, something that I also want to mention, if you don't have the weird takoyaki and Mad Bull by this point, you probably want to get them now. So I'm going to check that I have them. Yeah, I have both Weird Takoyaki and Mad Bull. I also have some spare beetle shells. You know what? While I'm at it, I think I might as well go and sell some items. Because doing that social link will immediately end the day, and, let's just go back to the map. And if I do that, it'll be harder to sell these things, so let's go ahead. Actually, I could sell them at night when I'm going out for karaoke, but you know what? We don't get to see this place and I went to the wrong place. We don't get to see this place in the daytime very often, so I might as well just go around here a little bit. So yeah, I was going to unload a bunch of useless weapons and armor at the police station. Let's see. Yeah, I've got a bunch of Chusumarus. I really only need 2. One for Junpei and one for the protagonist, if I want to use it. Because no one else we get can actually use two-handed swords. And we don't need these imitation katanas at all. Neither of them have an ability. Neither do we need all these rapiers. Yeah, see, this is what I meant when I was saying, want to keep at least one. And these short swords are even worse, so let's get rid of all of them. We only need to keep one practice bow as well, because I'm pretty sure Yukari has a better one by now. And I don't like selling my party members' initial equipment, because they are actually unique. Yeah, that's kind of good. And we have 1 beetle shell. That only sells for 1, seriously? I actually have 4 beetle shells, and they only sell for 1 each. That's really annoying. We only ever needed 1 for that quest, so might as well sell these because they're kind of useless. And yeah, the Soma only sells for 1, so don't sell it. Melon bread. Why would we sell the melon bread we got from the old couple? That's completely heartless. Yeah, see, look how much the SP recovery items sell for. They're pretty expensive in this game. And yeah, I was right about the bead chain, which ironically sells for more than the Soma, which has a better effect. Also, these wealth coins are useless except for selling. You get them from whelp hands, the kind of metal slime type enemies. I'm going to keep these Empress masks as an emergency cash reserve. I will probably be able to start buying better weapons sooner or later. Crit rate up, that's kind of nice. Unknown effect, that's potentially not that nice, and another unknown effect. And that's worse than what we have currently. I think at the moment we're fine just with the stuff we can buy from Tartarus. Not buy from Tartarus. Find in Tartarus. Buy from Tartarus would be kind of stupid. I might actually want to restock on revival beads while I'm at it, because those things are really important. And at this point, money is becoming slowly less of an issue, so we can actually afford to spend money on these things. Oh, new stuff in stock, too. Interesting. Dis-Poison, Dis-Rage, Dis-Charm. Dis-Charm is going to be useful eventually, because you don't want your party members to get charms. And that's all. Revival beads are still pretty expensive. And I would wait until Saturday, but we're actually not going to get a chance to go here before the full moon if we wait until Saturday, so I'm going to go ahead and buy... I like having 5 of these. Always a good idea to have revival beads on hand, because otherwise if a party member falls in battle and you're in the middle of a Tartarus expedition, they'll be forced to go back to the dorm if you try and go to the next floor. But what we really came here to do was to go to Iwatodai Station, and we're going to see the old couple again. Of course, it's a bit of a walk if you enter from this angle. But here we are, bookworms use books. So, as we recall, last time we left this social link, things got a bit serious. But the music's happy this time, so, yeah. Wonder if he's looking for something. And once again, the ridiculous nickname. Well, he kinda is, but that's beside the point. Wallet. Well, let's help look. Gary still having the ability to read minds. That's a terrifying prospect. I always hate it when you lose things. A wallet. You might remember this guy from the very beginning of the game, the student who was getting trolled by, now I know it's one of the teachers. So it's this guy, who is called Mysterious Foreigner, for the moment. And yeah, he found the wallet already. So yeah, get used to gratuitous Japanese. Thankfully, this guy has an excuse for it. So he goes to the same school. And I should actually point out that from this point on in this social link conversation, what you say doesn't matter. So, yes, as you can tell by the ridiculous phonetic accent, he comes from France, and his full name is André Laurent Jean Giraud, and if I pronounce that wrong, it's because I cannot pronounce French at all. But, apparently they just call him Bebe. And at risk of reusing a joke that's already been used in a forum Let's Play of this game, how do you get Bebe from that? Honestly, I don't know. Let's say the same thing again. Well, at least he's using Hajime Mashite correctly, unlike a whole lot of fanfiction that seem to think that it just means nice to meet you, when actually it only is used for meeting someone for the first time. So, he works in the home economics room, and that does explain why the sign there had some writing that was in another language. And as you can probably tell, this has unlocked another social link for us, though we won't actually start it for a bit later. Yeah, interesting is a, well, perfect way to put it. And it's gone back to serious again. I think we can already figure out what's happened, but let me say this. Well, it makes sense that they'd be afraid about getting into a car after that. Gary Stu will do a lot of things, but punching an old man is not one of them. So this is where you realize that a lot of the social links in this game have pretty interesting development over the course of them. And I actually forgot what rank this was. Level 3, okay, so we're still actually quite low into the thing, and already we're learning some interesting details about their past. This is part of why I like doing max social link runs so much. It's just that you get to just know so much about these characters, and so much just... Some of these are quite surprising in the way they develop. And we get... Oh, medicine. That's actually useful for battles. No melon bread this time, though.
Sup, dude?
And let's see if you have anything new to say. So, we can't actually go to Tartarus today, so good thing we took care of all our exploration yesterday. And, yeah, I don't think Yukari's even here tonight. So, well, actually, if I don't save now, I won't have another chance until the next day. Something that I actually should point out here, though, is that if you haven't bought a Mad Bull yet, if you're following the guide really strictly, tonight is your last chance to get it from the vending machine, because tomorrow you won't have a chance to access these vending machines until you go back to the dorm, and that will make it evening, and that'll mean that it'll be too late to do the thing that requires a Mad Bull. So probably a good idea to buy one tonight if you haven't already. But since I already have one, we just do our usual nightly routine. So I'll just save and get along to that. Now, the time of recording this, I've actually been away from the game for a little while, so I've kind of forgotten whether Tuesdays are supposed to be karaoke or arcade, but I'm leaning towards arcade. Let me see if I'm right. And again, I could have sold some more stuff on this trip here, but, well, not to the police station, at least. Okay, let's just check Game Panic. Yes, Horror House is today. My instinct was right, so let's do that. no boost to courage yet, but we actually still have quite a lot of time before the deadline for maxing out courage. Oh, hey! Yep, the thing we bought from the TV show's come. We get Slash Ward and Sappy Jelly, which I have no idea what that does, so I'll have to check that. And we're going to study like always. Kind of hope we get tired a little more often, because I've been getting kind of unlucky with that. Getting tired before the full moon, though, is not a real issue. Okay, that is not, getting tired, so we'll have to wait until tomorrow night to try that again. Now, this Wednesday is actually quite important. Unfortunately, Golden Week is over. Yeah, I always feel sad whenever school holidays, or in my case, university holidays are over. That's kind of random. And my first instinct when I saw this was, oh great, Yarn has yet another way of dying to be worried about. Careful when you spread rumors, because in an earlier Persona game, rumors could actually become scientific fact. Now, this is important. They talk about an elementary school kid at Naganaki Shrine. I will stress again, this is important. Yeah, I guess the teachers would also feel pretty sad at being back from school holidays. One of the perks of being a teacher is you get those off, but that and, well, pretty much anything contains minerals. And once again, we get called out for a question. Thankfully, though, Gary still has the magic of me having the internet. Though, in this case, it should be fairly obvious what you'd call water with low calcium and magnesium content. That would be soft water. Interesting. According to Wikipedia, soft water naturally occurs where rainfall and the drainage basins of rivers are formed of hard, calcium-poor rocks. So, there are apparently examples in the UK, including Snowdonia in Wales and the Western Highlands in Scotland, but according to this, most of the water in Japan is soft water, so they must have calcium-poor rocks as well. It is kind of interesting. I've recently been overseas, so I actually know that the water in other countries does taste different. Even bottled water tastes different. Bottled water was the only water I was having over there because I was too paranoid of getting sick. Interesting. Not sure you'd really have access to soft water in, wonder if you can, like, buy bottles of soft water in countries where it's not that common. Not sure if we have soft water here in Australia or not. And so, once again, we're back to school. Yeah, at this point where I'm probably uploading this video, I'm at around the time when back to school ads are all over TV. Yeah, it's a bummer. Of course, they have summer vacation to look forward to. Is Yukari saying anything different? Oh, you are still saying the same thing. Yukari is now turned into a Welcome to Corneria Broken Record NPC. Now, before we do a social link today, we're actually going to take one more stop. And, well, if it wasn't obvious by me saying it's important twice, we're going to go to the Naganaki Shrine. When I first played this game, I actually didn't quite know what to do here. I must have been an idiot and not paid attention to what they were saying out the front of the school. Because the guide here just says, flag need weird takoyaki and mad bull, but it doesn't say specifically what you're supposed to do with them. Thankfully though, those NPCs were helpful enough to hint us in the right direction. We need to go to the shrine. This is like the Yuko flags to initiate the strength social link. It's not going to make a difference now, but later on, we will be able to access this social link, and we need to do this in order to unlock it. So, we need to talk to this girl here, who they said was playing alone. And it's Maiko. Now, this is kind of a pun that's a little hard to translate. The word for lost child in Japanese is Maigo. So it's only one syllable off. And as a result, in a lot of Japanese media, they love giving children who are physically or metaphorically lost the name Maiko. Another example of that is the Japanese name of Katie in Animal Crossing. Sorry, I actually think Garisu is a bad person. He is kind of lying, but, she is hungry. Now, she says there's something that she really wants. I'm actually not sure if she hints you to this if you don't have the item. Because I've never actually gone here without having weird takoyaki. But if you do have weird takoyaki, she apparently likes this, despite nobody knowing what meat is in it. But now she's thirsty. And of course, this is what we bought the Mad Bull for. Again, I actually haven't checked to see if she gives you a hint if you don't have this item, but we have it. So, once you give her the weird takoyaki and Mad Bull, she'll agree to be our friend. However, as you can see there, the social link has not started yet. And in fact, we're not actually going to start it for a while, but if we don't do that, if we don't get that out of the way now, then it might cause problems for the schedule later. So that's what we're doing. It doesn't cost any time, though. So yeah, this is the earliest you can possibly do that, and that is going to help us start the social link as early as possible later. Speaking of social links, though, we have a real one to initiate now. And I actually do mean initiate, because this is actually a new link. Technically, we could have actually done this a while ago. I'll just say right now, we're going to be starting the Student Council social link now. We could have actually started this right from when we signed up with Student Council, but we didn't have time in our schedule yet. We do now, so now is the time we're actually going to do this. And the Student Council social link is actually pretty important, because, is Creepy Stalker saying anything new? Uh-oh. We're about to join the Student Council, which means we're on her death list. Anyway, I'm pretty sure we need to go into the... No, not the PA room. It would be the Student Council room, wouldn't it? Here's the Student Council room. So we can do this anytime after signing up, but now is the best time according to the guide. Not entirely sure why now is the best time, but do not question the guide. For it is your only ticket to max social linkdom. So like always, the first rank of a social link, it doesn't really matter what you say, it's more just an introduction to the character involved. So this is Hidetoshi Odagari. He's going to be our social link character for this thing, and his eyes look very weird. And this is Chihiro Fushimi, the treasurer. I think sophomore is second year. Yeah, I have no idea. All I know is freshman is first year, and I have no clue about the rest of them because we don't use those terms in Australia. But I'm pretty sure that's second year. Well, yes, Garisu is perfect in every way. And so, with that, we have a new link. The Emperor Arcana. The Emperor Arcana represents power and control, in particular the ability to control one's surroundings, and in some cases your own emotions as well. Figures aligned with the Emperor Arcana are usually authority figures of some kind, and the Emperor Arcana also represents people who lay down the rules. It's also a general symbol of male authority figures. The symbolism with the student council is thus fairly obvious. They are in a position of authority within the school, they have to make sure the other students are in line, and they help uphold the rules. We haven't quite seen how this applies to Hidetoshi Odagari, the actual character for this Arcana, because we really don't know anything about him yet. The first part of this link was just introducing ourselves, so we'll see that a bit later. But I will say that characters of the Emperor Arcana tend to struggle with personal issues, and are often unsure of how to handle them. Basically, they struggle with matters where power isn't always the answer. Also, while we technically haven't really seen the major party persona of the Emperor Arcana, I don't think it's much of a spoiler to say that Akihiko is going to be our character representing the Emperor, and the way the Arcana relates to him is obvious in some ways and not so obvious in others, like it is with most of the Arcana symbolism in this game. As for the actual personas, well, in terms of mythological theme, it's very, very obvious. Personas of the Emperor Arcana tend to be male authority figures, usually kings or rulers of a particular pantheon of deities. That's pretty much as far as it goes. It's, well, that obvious. As for gameplay, personas of the Emperor Arcana tend to specialize in thunder magic, in fact almost always specialize in thunder magic, and tend to have a high magic stat as well, but they usually have decent strength as well and learn physical attacks to complement that, in fitting with the Emperor being kind of like one of the more, I guess, macho Arcanas in this game. Now, the Emperor's social link in this game is kind of interesting, for a few reasons. Firstly, in the original vanilla version of Persona 3, you never needed a matching persona when you were visiting this guy, because the rank would always max out regardless of whether you had one or not. That is not the case in FES. However, you don't need a matching persona until rank 7, so you don't need to worry about that for quite a while. Now, the other interesting thing about the Emperor Arcana is that Hidetoshi is one of the few characters in this game who will never call you to hang out on weekends, so raising his link is actually a little bit tricky in comparison to some others. And this is especially evident when we get to the kind of responses that he approves of, which are things that might not be obvious on a first playthrough. And we apparently spent the whole rest of the school day just giving introductions. Well, that's kind of how my first class of every single uni subject I have goes. Just spend the first class just giving introductions. Which basically translates as we can do this social link on most days, actually. Now, this social link is unique for a few reasons. I explained a few already in my talk about the Emperor Arcana, but it is important for another reason. It also helps us start a different link, and no, it's not with the character you're probably thinking of.
Oh, hey!
Hey, you over your sickness now? Well, she probably is, given she's saying that. Unfortunately, we can't really afford to go to Tartarus. Now, if you're not on a max social link run, definitely go to Tartarus as much as possible before full moons, but because I'm not... Yes, Yukari has a bad feeling that something bad is going to happen. Quoting from a bad fanfic that I've read. Okay, I think she's saying something new here. Yeah, I've already showed that off, although it is a little bit less awkward to use in that regard than a bow is. It does have a bit longer range than the other swords. Junpei's acting out his own little play there. Shame that's not voice acted. That probably would have been amazing. Please tell me using a bow has its drawbacks is not a pun. Yeah, that's kind of what I was already mentioning about bows. That's why I prefer not to use them when exploring. Thankfully, Yukari doesn't need to worry about that, because she is not the one in charge of preemptive strikes. I guess so. Yeah, well, Mitsuru's... Thankfully, Mitsuru's letting us go to clubs. Because that's really our main way of getting some social links. Oh, wow. That's that PSN network leak all over again. Yeah, always gotta watch out for those kind of things. And yes, now that it's evening, it's too late to do the Maiko event. So if you buy a Mad Bull now, you'll have to wait until... I'm not sure exactly, like, if you can do it tomorrow, right? Because I've always done it the first opportunity it's available. But anyway, we made some pretty good progress today. Got ourselves started towards one social link and actually started another one. So I think we should have a save here.